Right. So, in the last session, we have discussed about the importance of architecture from the context of a solution point of view. Being in business process management architect from the Appian tool point of view, like what exactly architecture is all about and what are the different types of architectures we have. At the same time, we have discussed about what exactly a solution architect do. So what are their roles and responsibilities? Everything was explained in the last session. Now, today I'm going to discuss about from the context of an Appian architect is all about, architecture is all about, wherein you can see over here, this is what generally in platform architecture for Appian, when we try to understand Appian application from the high level point of view. So let us understand what exactly the responsibilities or the skill sets which are required for an Appian architect. Because architects are multiple ways, like we have business architects, we have systems architecture, application architect, data architect roles, cloud architects, all that. And one of the key important architect role we see now and then are nothing but solution architect. That is what something which we are discussing now. Okay, because being a solution architect for any of the solution, whatever are you going to develop, is something required. So, being a solution architect, we are majorly responsible to design, develop, and as well as maintaining any of the Appian applications. Because different business process management tool application of Appian, which normally we will be using. So there are development team who will be doing the code part. Okay, so when we are working on the architectural point of view, two things we need to understand. One is configuration, second is integration. Configuration, first of its kind, Appian we are using in our organization. So how this can be configured by understanding the business rules and government mandates. Along with this, understanding about non-functional requirements is important being an architect, because from the non-functional requirements, whatever the high-level designs and low-level designs of the application was identified. So that gives you what I say, like behavior and characteristic of an application will be identified there. From there onwards, what architecture we have developed, everything will comes under picture, right? So being an architect, solution architect, we need to understand how to design the solution, how to develop and maintain the solution is something we must be knowing. And the bare basic minimum thing about the development lifecycle part, because software development lifecycle is one of the key and important element one must be knowing, right? So being a solution architect, we must be knowing that. We must be knowing about the SDLC part well in advance. This is one of the key important element. Next, to have some knowledge over the technical design part. This is required even. Right. So knowing about the technical design is also one of the key and important element by creating different architectural designs, building and as well as supporting applications. At the same time, whichever the testing team were working, right? So we need to ensure the applications are tested, at the same time documenting, maintaining the documentation, deployment, right? So deploying the applications, everything has to be done. So for that, detailed understanding over the technical design is required for an Appian architect. Next, we need to understand the non-functional requirements. This is required. Okay, this is what generally we call it as NFR, stands for non-functional requirements, because non-functional requirements give you scalability, reachability, availability, performance, load balancing, fault tolerancing, everything will be discussed under the non-functional requirements point of view. So understanding about the non-functional requirements so that you will be knowing about the behavior of an application. So that normally these requirements will be given by the business analyst team. They will be given you so that we will be knowing about how to define the project scope, at the same time providing some kind of technical infrastructure support, especially for the technical team to create any kind of data model designs, because data model designing is something which we need to do, right? So we need to create some data model designs and all. So this is also one of the key and important element to be known. At the same time, SQL queries and all, right? So those are all common things anyway, you know it, right? So because as in when you guys were from the technical point of view, technical side, creating some SQL queries, at the same time, stored procedures. These are all comes under the model design, data model design, SQL, right? So writing some queries. This is also something which we will be doing. Next, being into an architect role, we need to have a detailed understanding the business needs, because we need to ensure and we need to reach in target where we want to reach the business needs. And at the same time, whatever the required best practices that are to be aligned, everything we will be aligning to this. So it's always important being a solution architect. It's not only about the providing some solution or system design or technical design, but we need to collaborate with multiple stakeholders, business analysts, team, so that if we can gather and analyze the requirements, or if you want to define the scope of the project, understanding about the high level design documents, because in the beginning itself I told you, because high level designs and low level designs are required. So understanding about high level design documents, at the same time, what are the different process flows we have. Next, what kind of integration strategies that are required for us to follow to develop an Appian application. So this sort of knowledge is required. So this is something which, being a solution architect from the, this is where generally being a Appian architect, when it comes to the solution architecture, is what something we must be knowing, or we must have that idea. That is something which is essentially required. Next, being into a solution architect, whenever we try to understand the requirements from the high level point of view, it is always important for us to have some technical knowledge, as in when I told you. So apart from that, we must be knowing about the concepts of Appian. That is required, even you know that, right? So Appian concepts are always required for us and all that. So at the same time, we must be knowing about the records as well. So whatever the different records that are to be updated and all that. Next, we must be knowing about the sale interfaces, right? So this is also required, because sale interfaces is one of the key and important element we must be knowing. Next, apart from the business rules, we must be knowing about the expression rules also. What are the expression rules we have? At the same time, we must be knowing about what are the different functions are required. At the same time, how to create and differentiate, or how to create any kind of process models. Because for every business process, there are different process models we have. So understanding and as well as creating the process models is also one of the key and important element we need to know. At the same time, we need to have some knowledge over the deployment using any kind of pipelines or integrations. At the same time, when it's part of integration, you know, we create different APIs. Web APIs is what something will be created. So this sort of knowledge is always required when we want to become an Appian architect, especially when we are working on Appian architecture, solution architect role. I want to say that this is what something, being a Appian architect, you must be good with Appian architect. This is all something which today's session is all about. Tomorrow we're going to discuss about the non-functional requirement point of view by taking some case study. So how the non-functional requirements will be identified. From there, how this technical designs we do. For that, how to understand high level and low level designs. So that part I'm going to discuss in tomorrow's session. So followed by this, we will be going about the concepts of Appian records, expression rules, and how to understand and define expression rules. These things we are going to discuss in tomorrow's session. Okay, right. So tomorrow will be. Bye.